guys, so this is my book review for H P Lovecraft, and I have a collection of short stories called The Thing on the Doorstep and other stories. And the short stories in here are The Tomb, Beyond the Wall of Sleep, White Ship, The Temple, Quest of Erina, The Music of Eric Zahn, Pickman's Model, The Case of Charles Dexter Ward, The Dunwich Horror, At the Mountains of Madness, and The Thing on the Doorstep. In case you want to know exactly which stories I read. So there were a lot of different short stories in here, and they all had very different feels. Yeah, they're written over a large span of H P Lovecraft's life and work. So I'm just going to talk about my favorite ones instead of going over all of them, because that would just take a while. So my absolute favorite one on here, actually, there's also Under the Pyramids, which I forgot the original list. And Under the Pyramids is actually my favorite short story in here. It is narrated by Harry Houdini, is our main character. Harry Houdini goes to Egypt with his wife to visit the pyramids, and he's trying to stay kind of undercover and keep it low-key because he's so famous. But he gets captured by his tour guide, and he tries to escape from them, but they tie him up and bind him up, and he gets stuck underneath the Sphinx at the plaza at Giza, where the Great Pyramids are. He ends up under the Sphinx and has this crazy adventure with Egyptian evil things. Yeah. I like the fact that H P Lovecraft used Harry Houdini as the main character. It was really well written. It was super interesting. I loved Egypt. I love the pyramids and the Sphinx, and I love Egyptian mythology, and it managed to capture all of that. So I loved that short story. That was definitely my favorite one. And the second one I had, my second favorite of these short stories, was The Quest of Erina, which tells the story of a young stranger who appears in the city of Teloth, and he is a singer, and he goes place to place singing, and he's trying to find his way home. He's singing songs of his homeland of Erina, and he is just remembers all these stories, and he idolizes this place, and he gets this other character, a young boy, Unai, who starts traveling with him. So they go on this quest, and I love the use of music. I love the way it's written. It's not written the same way as most of H P Lovecraft's other stories. It actually felt a lot like a Dr. Seuss book to me, the way the dialogue and the flow and just the way it sounded. So I really love that form of writing and the way it flowed. I loved the journey, and it was super interesting. So I really loved that story also. I also like Beyond the Wall of Sleep. There is a doctor in a mental institution narrating, and he comes across this hillbilly-type patient who arrives after he's assaulting a neighbor. So he's basically captured and in the mental institution against his will. And this guy has very vivid dreams of this creature of light. And the doctor attempts to reach out to the hillbilly in his dreams. And the doctor dreams of and meets an alien in the process. So I really like that story, and it reminded me a lot of the Twilight Zone, which I grew up watching as a child, so I love the way that was written also. And there's another story, The Temple. So The Temple is about a German U-boat captain in World War I, and he sinks a British ship, and he finds clinging to the outside of their U-boat a Greek man, and they take a necklace off this guy before they kind of kick him off the boat. And weird things start happening to the U-boat in the process, and they end up getting dragged, like the boat starts steering itself, and they get dragged to Atlantis. So I really love that. I love the myth of Atlantis and stuff, so that was a really interesting story to me also. And I also really liked Music of Eric Zahn, which the narrator lives in France, I think, in Europe. Our narrator of the story lives in Europe, and he used to live in an apartment under Eric Zahn, and he starts hearing Zahn playing music. Zahn is dumb, so he can't speak. So they can't really communicate well, but the narrator and Zahn start to form a kind of uneasy friendship with this eccentric old man on this love of music. And when So the narrator also tends to hear kind of frantic playing sometimes, which isn't the normal style of music that Zahn would normally play. And when he goes to investigate it, he finds a portal to some kind of demon world. And that one was just super interesting also. Yeah, so some of these were really awesome, and some of them were, like, way too scary and creepy for me. Yeah. So, H P Lovecraft's short stories are apparently hit or miss with me. I also tried reading Dreams and Fancies by H P Lovecraft, which is a collection of his journals. But having just read this one, it was just too much. So I know it was on my TBR list for the year, but I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to finish it, sorry guys. It's pretty good, it's pretty interesting. It's not as interesting as the short stories because they're not full thought out things. They're mostly letters where H.P. Lovecraft is telling other people about dreams he had. And having read these, I start to see some of the origins of some of these other stories. So that was cool, but I wasn't like, I'm not in love with this enough to finish it. So, yeah. So yeah, this book was a good read for never having read it. Yes, I would say definitely go explore H.P. Lovecraft if you haven't already, and to see what some of his other stories are. But yeah, it wasn't a fabulous book. I'm super glad I got out of the library and didn't buy it, but yeah, I'm just not a fan of horror, so the more ones that were more sci-fi or fantasy I was more interested in than just straight up like creepy monsters under the bed and getting possessed and stuff, so yeah. So there's my review. I promised I was gonna make one, so I did. Yeah, I love you guys. Peace.